Welcome back to my series, Demystifying the Real Estate Offer, and today we're talking about radon, termites, and how everything can go wrong in your transaction. So we're back in that series where we're exploding everything. We just exploded the home inspection. Now it's radon and termites. So let's explode those things so that they don't happen to you when you're buying your house. Let's start with radon. Radon is a colorless, odorless gas. It's naturally occurring. It's found in the ground and it comes up into our atmosphere, but sometimes when it does that, it comes up into our house and then it gets a little trapped in there. And over time, that exposure can cause lung cancer. It's actually the second leading cause of lung cancer after smoking. According to the EPA, the level of radon in our houses should be kept below 4 picocuries per liter. And you can test the level in your house with either an at-home kit or by hiring a professional to do it for you. All right, so let's get back to that transaction we're in. The home inspection's already exploded, the seller's already mad at us, and now you say, well, I want to test for radon levels. Unfortunately, you don't have the right to do that. You can't just test for radon in the house because you're under contract and you want to. You need to have built in a radon contingency in order for you to be able to do that. A radon contingency is something that you add to your contract when you're preparing it, and it gives you the right to test for radon and to negotiate with the seller. If the level comes back too high, which is over 4 picocuries per liter, the EPA recommended level, then you can negotiate with the seller to either remediate it by putting in a system to do so. Oftentimes it's like a ventilation system that expels the air up and out of the house. Think around $2,000. Obviously is going to be different for different houses, different layouts, different sizes, but that is just a rough ballpark to give you an idea of the level that we're talking about. So you can either ask the seller to install one of these systems, or you can ask them to give you a credit towards doing that yourself. But in this case, you don't have a radon contingency, you don't get to test for the radon, you don't get to negotiate for either the money or the system. So what happened to you? You just bought a house, you have no idea what the radon level is. I do most of my business in Montgomery County, so I do want to just note there is a difference here. MoCo passed a law in 2016 saying that all sales need to have a radon test done on them so that the buyers and sellers are aware of the level. And there's a few exceptions, some condos, City of Rockville, but let's say you don't fall into the category. That means there has to have been a test, which means if the buyer doesn't elect to do one, the seller has to do one and provide the levels to them. They don't have to do anything about it. They don't have to remediate it. They just have to tell you what the level is. But if you want to be able to potentially negotiate this, then you should still put in that radon contingency so that you can negotiate with the seller. That's for Montgomery County, Maryland. So termites, different ballgame altogether. Termites is just short for wood-destroying insects. Technically, there are other things other than termites, like carpenter bees, that are wood-destroying insects. So sometimes you'll hear people say a termite inspection when in reality what they mean is a wood-destroying insect inspection. The buyer has the right at their expense to do a wood-destroying insect inspection of the house. And unless you have a VA loan, in which case the seller has to pay for it. And if there is evidence, this is a licensed pest control company. If they find evidence of live wood-destroying insects, they must be treated at the seller's expense to kill them. And if you find damage that's been caused by the wood-destroying insects, then the seller needs to repair that damage. So all of this has to happen before settlement. All right, what is the biggest way to screw this up? Don't do it. If you just don't do it, it's pretty screwed up. You know, maybe you'll get lucky and there won't be any active pests and there won't be any damage and it won't really have been a big deal and you'll never be the wiser. But these tests are really affordable. You can often find them for $50. And so it's just not worth it to not do it. You should always do this. You have the right to do it and you should do it. The other way that you could screw this up is you could wait till really close to settlement and then you can find out that there's this huge problem And even if the seller is super helpful and tries to get everything done as fast as possible, if you've waited till too close to closing, then you might have to bump closing because they need time in order to do the repairs and to get the companies in. Most of us agents have seen minor damage from time to time or live insects, which you can be treated for. I actually had some termites, not in one of my previous home, but outside of it. And I just had a termite plan for a little while with Terminex to kind of keep an eye on that situation. Here, I did an inspection. I didn't find any signs of pests, but at other houses I've done with clients, I've seen minor damage, some previous damage that needed small repairs, or termites that needed to be treated, or sometimes you'll see signs that there was something and they were treated, but the damage was never corrected. So there's a variety of different situations, and you'll probably see something. It's not really that big of a deal as the buyer because these minor things are just something you don't even have to negotiate. You just send it right on over to the seller and be like, here's what we found, and then they take care of it. It's not a big deal, unless it's a really big deal. What I mean by that is sometimes there have been people who've come in and the entire house has just been eaten over time by termites, and it's everything. The roof rafters, the floor joists, everything has just been compromised. So much so that you basically need to rebuild the house, and nobody's gonna wanna buy that. So buyers just wanna walk away at that point. That's another reason why it's good to do this early. I like to try to time it to be either right away or right in line with the home inspection, so that if there is anything crazy, we find out during the home inspection period. It's a great time because if you do find major problems and you just don't want to buy the house anymore, it gives you that exit time that you can leave on your home inspection because the house has just been destroyed by termites. Well, I don't think that was too bad. And hopefully this video was shorter, but radon, termites, both potential issues. Radon, good to know, but easy to correct. It's just money. And termites, most of the time, probably not a big deal, but sometimes massive deal. These are both things that you just need to be aware of in your house. You need to have things in place so that you can understand the situation and decide what you are comfortable with and what you are not. And hopefully now that you know about these contingencies and these things, they will be on your radar to be done. Your agent should be talking to you about them. So hopefully not too bad this week. Next week, a bad guy. Appraisals. Appraisals can go really wrong, even if they're not wrong. Stay tuned to find out what that means. Anyway, please subscribe if you haven't already so that you are aware of the next video when it goes up. And I really appreciate you watching my channel.